Welcome back to another episode on Start This Business YouTube channel. This is the My Rental Car Journey mini series, and today we have yet another claim to share with you guys. This one definitely takes the cake though. I've had some unique situations, things that have taken way longer than it probably should have to get repaired. The situation itself is kind of unique. It definitely, like I said, definitely takes the cake. So stay tuned after the intro. I'm gonna dive right into it, give you guys the full story of what happened. I mean, honestly, I don't even know what's gonna happen. I'm still kind of in limbo right now. I do a good job of doing my pre-inspections and everything like that, but this situation, I'm not sure what's gonna happen. I really don't. But we're gonna find out. So I'm gonna keep you guys updated, of course. So stay tuned after the intro. I'm gonna dive right into it. Let's go. Alright guys, so yes, we are back, of course. I guess we just kind of dive right into it. I mean, there's no way to kind of ease myself into this whole situation and going over it again, but that's what I'm here for. So, it all started with a lady who was going to take my car for 2 weeks. Which was cool, you know what I mean? Obviously 2 weeks is, something that it's a great, actually 2.5 weeks, I'm sorry, it's 2.5 weeks. So, of course, anytime someone's gonna rent my car for 2.5 weeks, I'm always all smiles, happy. So, anytime I get a 2.5 week booking, I mean, that's always great for me. So anyways, as they came and picked it up, I did my normal pre-inspection. I went around the car with them, showing them the car, had her sign off and everything. However, she introduced me to her daughter as well, too. Her daughter was with her, who was actually another secondary driver on the account, so they were able to drive as well. So she introduced me to her daughter. But as I was closing everything up and getting ready to we were about to go our separate ways, she mentioned that she was taking the car to Ohio. I mean, that's what it's for. At the end of the day, I really didn't care. If you're going to be driving it all around in Georgia, if I have unlimited miles, I mean, I don't really care. Just take care of my car. Or, like she kind of did is, let me know. It's different if you just rent my car, then next thing I know, you say, hey, yeah, I drove your car down to Miami and back. You know what I mean? That's a little bit different. That's a different story. If you tell me, I mean, more than likely, I'm cool with it, especially if it's one of the surrounding states. However, as she mentioned, she was driving to Ohio. She's older, you know what I mean? She's older. However, once again, she had her daughter with her. But I was like, okay, cool. What's the worst can happen? And she was a 5-star host. I've seen that she's been renting cars out for some years now, and she's a 5-star host and gets nothing but good reviews. So, you know what I mean? I was cool. Ohio is 500, 600 miles, something like that. I was cool with it. I was like, okay, no big deal. I've had no problems with the car so far. No big deal. Go ahead and run the play. She's going to be okay. And then she also told me too, because again, she had it for 2 weeks. For the first week, she was actually going to be in Georgia. I mean, she wasn't going to be renting the car the whole time she was not going to be in Ohio. She just needed the car, when she did go to Ohio. But for the first week of her trip, she was actually going to be in Georgia. So to me, I was like, okay, cool. I mean, the car's probably going to be sitting for a week, and then she's going to take it to Ohio. Cool, 5-star host, good reviews. She was older, you know what I mean? She was very responsible. She shared all this information with me. So I was good with it. I wasn't going to lose any sleep at the end of the day. Go ahead, take care of it, do your thing. So as the time came for her to take the car to Ohio, she started getting on the road, and I completely forgot. I didn't know exactly what day she was going to Ohio or anything like that. However, she gave me a call. She said, hey, Eric, just want to let you know, something's going on with your transmission. Has it ever struggled to get up hills before? And, I told her, I don't know. I don't really drive the car all the time. It's a very, you know what I mean? It's like a 4-cylinder. It's a 4-cylinder Nissan Versa. So I'm really not sure what the car can do going up steep hills. And if anybody knows, if anyone's driven from Georgia up north, going to the Midwest or, going to Tennessee, you're going through some mountains. The freeway, you're driving through the mountains. Not no little hills either. Some of these are pretty steep hills or inclines that you're driving up. So of course I've never experienced any of that in the Nissan. So, when she was telling, the way she described it, I was like, I don't know, maybe this car's just, is normal. But I was like, I'm not sure, basically at the end of the day. So I told her just keep an eye on it for me. Or matter of fact, I even said, hey, if it was, kind of jerking and doing these things when you're going uphill, when you get to your destination, take it to give it service and have it looked at. and then give me the information, or let me talk to the mechanic, and then I'll go from there. Maybe I can get the car, if there's something wrong with it, I can get it fixed real quick or get it repaired while you're doing your thing up there, and then you can get it back in time to come back. Man, like not even 5-10 minutes later, she called me and said, "Hey, your car is not driving. Like it's not even going in the drive. I can't even leave this gas station that she originally pulled into to call me and let me know about the car. She couldn't leave the drive. She couldn't leave. She said the car only went in reverse. So at this point in time, I'm like, oh man, like I'm telling you, this all hit me. And side note, this was like a minute, like almost 20 minutes after I found out that I just had got sick from COVID during this time. So that's what was even more crazy. It was just it was like the worst 20 minutes ever. But anyway, so she's telling me she can't go anywhere. The car's stuck. In my mind, I'm already knowing the transmission is probably toast. It is a Nissan, and like I said, I mentioned this in my first couple of episodes, or when I first bought the Nissan, that I'm very familiar with the CVT transmission issues that Nissans have, from the Maximas, from the Altimas, to the Sentras, to the Versas. Usually the 2013s to 2016s. Like those are the years that had the most issues when it comes to the CVT transmission. My Versa is a 2015. I was also aware of this before I purchased the car. So I did my due diligence on the car and everything seemed good. Like I drove it, everything was fine. And obviously I haven't had any complaints from any of my previous renters before the trip. So everything to me seemed like it was good. Everything was good to go. So I had no reason to worry really. So when she told me the transmission was fried, I'm like instant. I mean, when she told me the car wouldn't go in the drive, of course, I'm thinking the worst already. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to buy a new transmission. However, the car at this point, she was already in Kentucky. I'm in Atlanta. So she had already gotten to a place called Cave City, Kentucky. I've never heard of that place before in my life. I'm only familiar with like Louisville and stuff like that, in Florence and places like that. But I've never heard of Cave City, Kentucky. It was very, very like out of the way and had no idea. So of course, everything at this point in time, like I have no idea what I'm gonna do. Like I'm thinking, I have a car in Kentucky. The transmission is blown. That I think, this is before anyone's looked at it or anything like that. The transmission is blown, and my car is all the way in Kentucky. Like how is this even gonna work? Like what am I gonna even do? You know what I mean? So one of the first things I did was I contacted my claim specialist from my very first accident and said, hey, this is a scenario. Like I have a renter who's taking my car out of town. She's now in some parking lot at some gas station way in Kentucky, and the car does not drive. Like, how am I even supposed to start with it? And it's a mechanical issue. Like, it wasn't an accident. So that's another thing too. It's like, when we do the pre-inspections, we are really, we're protecting ourselves from any type of physical damage. However, like mechanical stuff is almost hard sometimes to prove. Like, hey, was it, just, kind of wear and tear type of thing, or if it was the actual fault of the driver. So that's why I was kind of confused and I didn't know what to do. However, if there was any shot that Turo's going to take care of this thing, I'm going to make sure I take that before I just drop $3,000 or whatever the case may be to get this transmission fixed in the Nissan. So of course I reached out to my specialist. The specialist kind of gave me the heads up, said, hey, this is what you can do. You can get your car towed from Kentucky to Atlanta. Or you can get your car taken to a local place where the car is right now, and they can send us the diagnostics and everything, and we can go from there. I said, okay, cool, because originally I thought if I had the car towed from Kentucky to Atlanta, I thought I was gonna have to cover that fee. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I thought I was gonna have to cover half of it or cover the entire fee since the car was stuck up there. So obviously at first I was like, nah, I'm gonna let her find a place up there or the nearest mechanic and let her take the car over there or have it towed over there, because she did have free towing in her package as well as a renter. So I was gonna let her tow it to the nearest mechanic in Cave City, Kentucky, and I'm gonna let them fix it. And the whole plan was, because this happened a week and 2 days before she was actually due to come back. From Kentucky. It happened a week and 2 days. So, or she was actually going to Ohio. So it was a week and 2 days before she was due to drive back. So my brain and me instantly going to problem solving mode was, let me try to get this car fixed in time so she can drive it back. On her way back down, so she can drive it back. So at this point in time, I don't even have to worry about, finding my way to Kentucky or going to Kentucky or just figuring out how to get my car back. If I can get it fixed in enough time and have her drive it back, then that would be perfect. So that's what I was trying to do. However, I mean, you guys know these things never work out the way we want them to. Never, ever, especially when it comes to a claim. So at the end of the day, she ended up getting a rental through Enterprise, which was not even, Turo didn't cover it, which is kind of crazy, actually, now I think about it. But Turo didn't cover it, so she had to come out of pocket, and, she rented a car from Enterprise, and she said, hey, Eric, I'm only doing a one-way rental. So I want to be able to take your car back, so please try to have it fixed by next week so I can take your car back and return this car from Enterprise. So that was, that was cool because she was trying to work with me. But here's the crazy part. Like, this is the crazy part. She's trying to work with me. However, she doesn't know, or maybe she does know, but she's trying to work with me at the same time. I am trying to handle this claim where obviously it was her fault. And at the same time, she's responsible for like paying the deductible, but I still need her to bring my car back. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is kind of the crazy thing that I'm juggling. Like, how do I blame this on her and still get her to bring my car back? Because she could have felt soft. Like, even though it was her fault, she could have like, hey, nah, I'm not, okay, you saying it, you blaming on me? All right, now how you gonna get your car back? Like, that's how she could have played it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to play both sides, and even at the end of the day, best solution I had was, depending on what her deductible was, which I think was like $250 or $500 or something like that, maybe, I would pay it. Or at least if it was $500, I'll pay half of it. Like, I'll go half on you, because I'm thinking it's gonna cost me about, if I took a flight or paid somebody, it's gonna be about $300-$400. Like, I'm gonna pay someone like $300-$400 or something like that, see if they'll go and pick up my car. Like, so instead of just paying, I might as well just pay her and, pay her deductible. So that was kind of my problem solving skills and how I was going to handle, taking care of her, and at the same time, me not having to come out of pocket and spending $3,000 for a transmission, but making sure my car got fixed. She was happy, I was happy, and my car got back to Georgia without me having to go get it. That was like, man, that was the perfect plan. However, once again, we know things don't go down like that. So it took me a while to actually get a specialist this time for whatever reason. Like, it took me a couple days. Like, the contact was just really, really just not there. Like, it was really hard to get in touch with somebody. And in the meanwhile, I got my car towed over to a place in Cave City, Kentucky called Chris's Automotive Shop. Very small town, and obviously it's very small when Chris's Automotive Shop, and I'm talking to Chris. Like, Chris is the person I'm talking to. You know what I'm saying? Constantly, and he's the one looking at my car. And he told me at the end of the day, once he looked at the car, he told me that the transmission was gone. It's gonna need to be replaced. Me personally, I was just like, I was in shock, because me being a car person, first of all, then this is when the wheels started turning, why I knew it was the renter's fault. Because me being a car person, your transmission doesn't just, boom, go out. Like, you know what I mean? It takes a lot. Like, it doesn't just, you will hear signs. Or unless you physically done something like, you drop the like, if you've done something crazy yourself, then yes, it could go out like that. But if you're just driving around normally, you know what I'm saying? Like, the transmission does not just fail on you. You hear signs. Like, you have things that will occur to you. Something's not right. Let me pull over, or let me find out what's going on, because something's not right with my car, or I need to get my car looked at ASAP. My theory, and again, I have no idea. You never know at the end of the day as a host. Whenever your renter tells you something, it's never always true anyway. But you never know what to believe when they tell you anything. So you gotta kind of have to create your own theories. And my theory was, once again, you're driving through the mountains, you're going up steep hills, steep inclines. It started to give her signs. Like, she did mention the car was jerking going up some hills. That's a red flag right there. She still continued to drive all the way to Cave City, Kentucky, because, as soon as you get halfway through Tennessee, you're hitting those mountains. So, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, it's like, come on now. I know this. And that's when she called me, and I think she knew at that point. That's why she pulled off. That's why she pulled into the gas station. And it wasn't a coincidence why 3 minutes later she called me and said, hey, your car won't even leave this gas station. Like, she struggled to get that car to that gas station, to be honest. So At the end of the day, as a host, what we have to do is we have to look back and say, hey, um, I know I didn't have any personal issues with the car. None of my renters had it. I mean, you guys seen my reviews and the comments people have left and what they've saying about the car. And all of a sudden the transmission goes out. Yes, I have to put my thinking cap on and say, hey, there's no way that this is just wear and tear, especially at like 68,000 miles on the Nissan. Like it's just not. However, I'm not necessarily blaming on her because she was very, very, very nice, and I felt so bad. And that's another thing too. When you do this business, you meet these people, they tell you their stories, you have conversations with them, and when something happens like this, it's hard for you to want to go back and like to charge them or to hit them with additional fee, or you know what I mean. But I'm sorry, I mean, again, this is a business. I can't keep biting bullets. $3,000 loss on the transmission on a car, that a situation that might have been prevented. You know what I mean? So, and that's kind of what the purpose of the mechanic is for. And even like I said, the mechanic said it as well too. Like, man, yeah, there's no way that this car the transmission just got this bad. Like, there was signs on the way here that the car's gotten this bad where you probably could have saved it, or at least not gotten to this point. However, it didn't happen for whatever reason. And again, that's when you come back to the renter. So at the end of the day, we got to that point. And now that I finally got a specialist, Chris's Automotive in Cave City, Kentucky just went completely missing. Like, I mean, I'm there at first so Turo needed pictures. They wanted me to send them pictures of the transmission so they can get an idea with not only the pictures but the diagnostics as well, to kind of figure out so they can start doing their investigation to see who's in fault for this car. But before anything, they needed to see pictures of the damage. Man, Chris's Automotive, so I sent him an email like, hey, this is what happened. As a matter of fact, I forwarded them an email, so nothing was missing, nothing was left out. I forwarded the email that I received and said, hey, this is what they need. Please send me this information as soon as possible. Chris was like, yeah, I understand, man. I understand this is business for you. I'm gonna get this taken care of as soon as I can. Then he passed me over to his wife, Olivia, who, I guess she's like the operations manager or whatever there that handles all these things and all this communication. Me and her started talking. Again, she even told me that she was aware that it was time sensitive because in the email that Turo sent to me and saying, hey, we need this in such and such amount of days. I think at that time it was like 4 days. Or I'm going to reach back out to you and see if we need to close this case, whatnot. So Olivia saw all that and reached out to me and said, hey, I know this is very time sensitive, so we're going to go ahead and get this taken care of for you today. Okay? That was like 3 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago. And, I was reaching out. I was calling. There was one point I was calling. Like, I was calling like 3 or 4 times. Like, boom, 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 boom. I was getting no answer the entire day. This was like on a Friday. I was getting no answer. I was sending emails. I sent like 3 emails. I was getting no answer. So it was, to me, I'm like, okay, what is going on? And it's nothing I can do. I mean, I checked the GPS. The car was still at the same spot. So it's not like I'm like, okay, maybe something's funny going on. They moved my car around or whatnot. No, I mean, my car was still at the body shop. They just weren't doing anything to it. And again, with the car being way in Cave City, Kentucky, which is like a 5-hour drive, you know what I mean? Like a 5-hour drive pretty much, or a 4-hour drive, something like that from here. My hands are tied behind my back. There's nothing I can do. It's not like I can just get in my car and drive up there and say, hey, I need y'all to put my car up in the air and take pictures. So every time I called, it was the same story almost, like, hey, we're busy right now. Oh, no, when I finally did get in touch with them, which was like, almost a week later from just them going MIA, they're like, hey, I haven't forgot about you. We're just really busy right now. We got major, like, engine repairs going on our list, so it's not like we can just move the car real quick and throw your car up there. But I'll get the information to you here in the next couple days. Me at this point in time, once again, there's nothing I can do. So at this point, I am just trying to, play cool and play calm so they do the job for me and not act like an asshole, and then they never actually repair my car, or they push it off, or they didn't, whatever the case may be. So because I'm so far away, I still had to like kind of be kind and be nice. So I said, okay, cool. So that occurred. So I gave them, the rest of the week, and it was like 2-3 days went by. Still heard nothing, got nothing from them. So I end up having to send an email to Turo because hey, Turo, I know I'm coming up on my deadline. This is what's going on. Not to mention I have other bookings coming up with the same car. I have other bookings coming up. So basically what I had to do is now I had to reach out to Turo and say, hey Turo, I don't know like if there's anything you guys can do for me. I am at the mercy at this auto body shop over here. It has now been 2 weeks. I haven't I haven't got any pictures for my car yet. So basically me just trying to reach out to Turo so Turo doesn't close my case. Because I'm still trying to get this car fixed without me having to come out of pocket for a whole new transmission. I'm just trying to pay deductible and let Turo take care of it. So at the end of the day, I'm reaching out to them to say, hey, please don't close my case. This is what's going on. And I also asked if there's anything that they can do. My claim specialist did respond back to me, and she eventually told me, hey, you can get your car, we can, arrange for a tow truck to get your car. Or if you don't and you wish to have that same mechanic or the same automotive shop, handle the repairs, then you just have to wait for them. Unfortunately, there's nothing we can do. So obviously at that point, I'm like, okay, let me just make sure, because I felt like it was something different about the way she responded this time, or the way she said I can have my car towed, that just made me think maybe they're going to cover the towing and I don't actually have to pay it. So basically I just responded and said, hey, I would love to have the car towed from this place only if that means I'm not coming out of pocket with any additional expenses and it's covered from my protection plan. Me being an all-star, like I'm throwing everything out there just to see, like whatever, like something with me has to allow me to get this car towed for free. Whether it's me being an all-star host, me having all these bookings with you guys, or just me paying this insurance plan, whatever the case may be. And then she finally responded back with yes, and it would actually be covered, and you would not be charged a single cent for having your car towed from Kentucky to Georgia, and you can have it towed to a local shop. Bet, run that like ASAP. So as soon as I got that email, I sent her a response and said, okay, cool. Now let's get the car. Like, yeah, I want to go ahead and move forward with that. I figured I may have to come out of pocket, but since I don't have to come out of pocket, yeah, let's go ahead and bring that car down here. For some reason, like as soon as I said that, like another 3 days went by, and I didn't hear anything from nobody. Then I got an email from, I guess, another specialist saying, hey, I'm covering for such and such because she is out of the office for a couple days. I was like, okay, cool. Well, this is where we're at in the situation. I wanted to move forward. My car getting towed. What do I need? What information you need? He responded back and said, hey, I just need the address to where the car is at right now, such and such, and we'll go from there. Cool. Instantly responded back with an address, gave him, said, hey, this is where the car is at. It said such and such address at Chris Automotive in Cave City, Kentucky. Gave him the information. 2-3 days went by again. I heard nothing from this guy, like nothing. So at this point, I'm reaching out to both of them, both of the people that I'm speaking to, who kind of been labeled as my claim specialist, and I didn't hear nothing from both of them. And then finally, a couple days ago, I got a response from my original claim specialist, who actually, no, I'm sorry, she called me. She didn't give me a response. She actually called me, and we moved forward and we are arranging everything. So right now the car is currently getting picked up. I mean, as we speak, it may actually literally being loaded onto the tow truck and driven back. However, with it being so far away, and I don't know how they doing this thing. It's not just like one driver. I don't think driving all the way from Kentucky down to Georgia. I don't know how they're gonna arrange it, but she said it can take anywhere from 7 to 10 business days. So that's where I'm at right now. Like that's basically where I'm at in this entire process. I haven't even had the diagnostics yet, no pictures taken. So I don't even know, I don't know what's gonna happen. I really don't know if Turo at this point in time, even if they see the pictures and the mechanic tells them, hey, this car was maintained, which I did do. This car was maintained, all the maintenance issues, like transmission maintained, like everything was maintained up until this point. It looks like it happened just during the user's trip. I still don't know, because at the end of the day, with any insurance company, including Turo, they're not making money by insuring you. You know what I mean? They're not trying to insure you at all. That's not their job. They're trying to make money. So I don't know if they're gonna find a loophole to not pay me, and if I had to pay this whole transmission, which would be a major blow with this specific car, because I'm real close right now to paying the car or the money I've made so far, covering the amount that I spent on the car, my initial investment. However, if I have to pay full price for this emissions or not this transmission, then you might as well tack like another 32 or 3,500 on top of that, that I have to now make back, which obviously I will. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind, regardless what route I have to take, I'm still gonna make my money back. But man, it'd be so much nicer if I didn't have to add that extra 3 on there because of the transmission. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. This is kind of new. I've reached out to some people too, and other people don't know as well too, like it's mechanical issues, transmission. Like, it's just very, very, very tricky, and it's gonna be very hard to see or get an idea of what Turo's gonna do. So right now I'm just kind of just waiting to see what's gonna happen. So that's where I'm at, you know what I mean? And as soon as I find something out, obviously I will make sure I record another episode to let you guys know and give you an update on exactly what's going on. And hopefully this can help people out as well in the future, especially if you deal with any mechanical issues with any of your cars, knowing exactly what to do, what not to say, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm just gonna wait it out and see what happens. Like I said, now we're finally in motion, and it's crazy that it took 3 weeks for something actually to happen, or someone to actually take some priority into my car, because that's what it felt like. Like no one, like Turo wasn't taking priority. Chris's Automotive wasn't taking priority. My guest really wasn't taking priority. After a while, I'm sorry, like she was the closest help that I actually got in this whole thing, and it was just unfortunate that like it was her fault that it happened. You know what I'm saying? But she was the closest thing that I actually had to like getting help, and that's why I'm saying like I don't. It is very tough for me because again, I did enjoy this guest, and I still do. I actually felt bad for her too, because which is crazy is when she got stuck, Turo only offered her $50 on the Uber to get back to Atlanta. Like Turo, that's like, I'm like, man, like that's what she told me. Like Turo only offered her $50 to come back from, and I'm not laughing at her. I'm just laughing like at the audacity of Turo. But they said, yeah, you got $50. Here's $50. Now you can use that as a Lyft on Uber. Remind you, she's in Kentucky trying to get back to Georgia. Anybody that lives in Georgia or anybody that understands, like I live in, I live in Marietta, which is just north side of Atlanta. To me to get to the south side of Atlanta from where I live at now, it would cost me about $50. So like, come on, man, $50 for real? Like that was kind of crazy. So I felt bad for her at the end of the day, but at the same time, I had to deal with my situation, and now that she's back in Georgia, I still have my car in Kentucky, still trying to figure out how I'm gonna get it back. So it was just one of those things, man, where, again, this is nothing ill towards the renter. It was a mistake, a situation that just occurred. This is kind of what happens in this business. But now with me knowing what happens after going through this, I know personally, obviously, I would never rent a car from Turo and drive out of state. Because, apparently, if something happens to the car, they ain't got no backup plan for you to get back. So you have to have that backup plan. Which I don't think a lot of people think about, especially when you're renting a car. You think it's going to get taken care of through Turo or whoever. But that's not the case with Turo. So now that I know that moving forward, yeah, there's no chance that I would take someone's car out of state from renting off Turo, because I know they don't have a plan B for that. Now, and what I know, as a host, is if someone does rent your car and takes it out of town and gets stuck, Turo's gonna, have it towed back to your local mechanic for free, which is pretty dope. Which is kind of a relief, and I'm just mad I didn't think about that or know that at the very beginning, because I probably would have saved a lot more time. Had I would have known they was gonna tow it back to Georgia for free, because I would have set that off rip. Oh yeah, bring it back to me. Let's go ahead and bring it back. However, keep in mind I was trying to get it fixed up there just so my renter can drive it back, and I wasn't gonna leave her stuck. I was still trying to look out for her at the same time. Because she was trying to look out for me. So that's kind of how it works. But yeah, I'm like right now, I'm just kind of stuck waiting and seeing what's going to happen. So once again, appreciate everybody, watching, sharing, commenting, subscribing to the channel. Stay tuned. This is definitely going to be a part 2, because, obviously we're not done yet. I'm just now kind of going through this process. So we're going to see what happens and see if I'm going to have to come out of pocket, or if Turo's going to take care of it on the deductible. I can get back on the road ASAP. We're going to see what happens. Like I said, I really don't know. Hopefully my next update for you is saying, hey, I only had to pay my deductible. My car is getting fixed, and I'm so close to getting back on the road so I can get back to this money. That's what we're going to go for. That's what I'm manifesting. So stay tuned. We'll find out. Peace. However, However, the situation is definitely unique. So yes, I do have another claim to go over with you guys, share with you guys another crazy story. Like this one definitely takes the cake out of all the ones I've had so far. Take the take. God damn.